Thank you so much for your comments in the last few videos. In the last few videos, we talked about climbing the 80-20 curve. We talked about hourglass, thanks to Mike Rhodes for that idea. We also talked about choosing real. And if you're watching this video, I'm gonna guess that you're an entrepreneur. I'm gonna guess that you've also hit some kind of challenge in your company that you can no longer solve with sales and marketing. You've realized that operations, management, and leadership is the next frontier for you to cross. And in fact, that's the exact work that I help clients with in private consulting and also in the live events that we host. One of my recent client success stories, as you heard in previous videos, is I helped a client find $472,000 US in net income. Not top line sales, but bottom line profit. They got to keep nearly $500,000 extra inside of their company, which is very, very exciting. I'm gonna guess also that you are an entrepreneur that is committed to building a real company. Maybe you read the 4-Hour Workweek and started your business because you wanted a muse, as Tim Ferriss talks about, but now you've realized that you want more. You want to grow more yourself personally, and you want to grow your company more. You want it to be sustainable, enduring, and you want it to make a bigger impact and a bigger contribution on this planet and while you're here. In the last video, I promised you that I'd help you find the exact spots in your company where you'd be able to delegate and work with other team members to get things off your plate so that you can climb that 80-20 curve. I have a special bonus. Not only am I going to show you that tool called the Magic Matrix, I'm also going to share with you an additional tool. It's not that big, but it's extra helpful and it's super quick and easy. And I'll share that after the Magic Matrix. With no further ado, let's dive into the Magic Matrix. Before I show you the Magic Matrix, you have to promise me you're not gonna laugh. It's kind of simple. This is it. It's just a checkered table with rows and columns, just like any other table. If we take a look at what's down the left side, we'll see a bunch of words. Let's not worry about that. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Instead, I'd like you to focus on the words across the top here. When I work with entrepreneurs and I ask them what they'd like to delegate, oftentimes they'll say things like email or WordPress or bookkeeping. They'll give me big picture tools and tasks and entire projects that they want to get off their plate. And so I say, that's great. Let's put them across the top here. So the 3 examples I've got here are Facebook ads, blog, and accounting. Now accounting, you might think, well, hey, that's something that I give to my accountant. And if that's the case, then great. It's still a good example. You'll see why in just a moment. So instead of listing the tasks and skills here, we put them here, which leaves room for these very important words: strategy, high-level skill, setup and coordination, maintenance and reporting, customer and tech support. You'll also see there's a red line here on the Magic Matrix. And what that is the definitive line under which you can absolutely delegate anything below that line. Now, before I go into examples, understand that these are just cue words, and in certain circumstances, maybe it's not 100% true or accurate all the time, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater here. Don't get too caught up in the semantics or specifics. Use this as a general guide, and you will find hot spots in your company, spots of tasks and projects you could get off your plate. So obviously, high-level strategy when it comes to Facebook ads, if that's your forte, that's probably not a place to start offloading, unless you've decided that you've found a great agency and you're just gonna push absolutely everything to them. In that case, go for it. But there's probably a lot more smaller type tasks in your business we can tackle from the beginning. A lot of entrepreneurs I work with suffer from death by 1,000 paper cuts. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 20 minutes here. It all adds up so quickly, and before you know it, they're working 80-hour work weeks. Where did the time go? So let's start with something simpler. If we take a look at something like Facebook ads and we go down into this area where we know we can delegate, and we pick something like reporting, we realize that's a hot spot right there. If you're the one going into your Facebook ads to pull reports on which audiences or which ads are doing really well, so that you can then put them into a summary table for you to analyze the performance of your campaigns, that's something you could definitely have an assistant do or have another team member take care of. They could go in, grab all the data from the different campaigns that you want and build you a summary table. Now you might be using an automated piece of software to aggregate all that data? And if you are, that's great. More than anything, I'm just looking to show you examples. Let's keep going. Let's go with your blog. What would be something like setup? Okay, well, you could set up blog posts. If in your blog you're interviewing people, your assistant or team could be setting up the interviews that you use for your blog. If we take a look at maintenance and reporting relative to your blog, perhaps there's plugins that need to be updated. Perhaps there's links that get broken. Perhaps there's comments that have to be taken care of. That might be an example of customer or tech support. So again, don't get caught in the specifics. Just understand that if you use these 6 words and ask them of each of the different tools, tasks, projects, or areas of your business, that will immediately pop up hotspots that you can go and tackle. So let's take a look at something like accounting. Well, obviously, high-level strategy, you're going to work with your accountant on that. And obviously, they're going to have high-level skill that you may not have. You probably maybe don't even want to have that skill. But when we take a look at coordination, well, you don't have to be the one to coordinate from your bookkeeper to your accountant. That could easily be somebody on your team who takes care of that, or your annual filings. Or when it comes to reporting on your accounting, instead of you being the one to have to go and pull the data, or instead of you having to pay $400 an hour to an accountant to go and pull the data, interpret it for you, you could easily have a team member go in and pull some of those reports and get some of that information. I'm gonna go with one more column here. It's not on this piece of paper, but I think something like copywriting. Oh, copywriting, it's so dubious. Can you ever hand that off? Well, copywriting is indeed a high-level skill. And if you're really good at it, maybe it's something that you don't hand off right away. Or maybe it's something you never hand off, that's fine. But there is so much that surrounds copywriting that you absolutely could hand off. For example, oftentimes in copywriting, we interview customers to get their buying language, to hear about their pains and frustrations before we write copy. Well, if we ask ourselves, what kind of setup is there with copywriting? There's setting up customer interviews. There's maybe coordinating the audio files of the interviews so that they end up in the right folder on Dropbox so that you, the copywriter, can easily go in and listen to them without having to fight with your hard drive to try and find them. Maybe with copy, there's something like reporting. Maybe that's finding out what kind of commissions that you need to collect from clients, or maybe that's the kind of commissions you need to pay to JV partners or whatnot on some of the copy that you've written. So not all of these words are going to apply to every situation or every skill or tool. However, if you simply write the tools across the top and the projects and areas that you're looking to possibly get off your plate, run them through this test, and immediately you'll start seeing hotspots starting to appear. Now, one last comment about the magic matrix is, what about when you do have like an entire department to hand off, like accounting or marketing or operations manager or whatnot? Well, now they can take this same magic matrix and figure out how they can spend the maximum amount of their time in strategy and high-level skill, and how they can hand off a lot of this onto other team members in their department or in their area. In my consulting work with clients, I regularly hear the same objections again and again against delegating. I hear, Tim, how can I let go of control? How can I trust my team members? I hear, Tim, I don't know if I have the time or energy to train or manage the person that I'm delegating to. I just don't know if I can do it. I think that's really valid. We've worked extremely hard as entrepreneurs to build the companies that we have and have really invested a lot of time, energy, sweat, blood, and tears into this thing. And so there's really only one thing that comes to mind to me to say if you're in that exact thinking pattern. It's an old quote that really rocks me to the core every single time that I hear it. It's the quote that hell is meeting the person you could have been. Think about it. If you don't let go of control, if you don't trust, if you don't take the time to manage or to train new team members to take things over for you, where's that going to leave you? In 5 years, in 10 years, if you're doing the exact same stuff day in and day out. That's terrifying to me. And that's the idea of opportunity cost. By clinging on so tightly to control, by not trusting people, what are we giving up? So I encourage you to dig deep inside, find what really, really matters to you. And here's the thing that I know about entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are some of the most creative, resourceful people, incredible producers this planet knows. And as one of those entrepreneurs, I know that whatever it is that's most important to you, you will make it happen. It's almost never an issue of time or money when it comes to entrepreneurs. It's simply a question of priority. And if that vision of the future, of what you could be, of what your business could be, of what your team could be, of the impact that you could have, if that is exciting and inspiring enough to you, you will do the hard work. I know that about you because you and I are both entrepreneurs. And we will roll up our sleeves whenever we make something a priority. Now, the next video I've got for you is one of the most highest octane concepts around 80-20 I've ever seen. It's something that I invented. It's called the 5 levels of 80-20. In fact, when I shared it with Mr. 80-20 himself, Mr. Perry Marshall, it stopped him in his tracks and he went, whoa. That demystifies 80-20 in so many ways, so many ways, and makes it so practical for everyday people to be able to use 80-20 in their business on a regular basis. That's coming up in the next video, and I'm very excited to share that with you. And now, before we wrap up this video, just a couple quick things. First of all, I'm curious to know, based on the magic matrix that you've produced for your own business, what are the first 1 or 2 tasks that you're going to get off your plate? You're gonna have a whole bunch of hot spots and dots inside your magic matrix. And I'm curious to know, in the 80-20 of it all, what are the first 1 or 2 hot spots that are gonna make the big 80% difference that you're gonna go and tackle next? I'd love to know what that is, and I'd love it if you'd put it in the comments below. That way we can see what the most common tasks are that people wanna get off their plate. Now, the final item, I promised you another tool. I said I'd give you 2 tools. One is the Magic Matrix, and the second is actually a PDF that we put together. It's called 100 Tasks You Can Delegate. And if you're feeling stumped about what you can delegate out of your business, consider downloading that PDF. It's at profitfactory.com/100 tasks. And that's spelled profitfactory.com/100 tasks with an S. And when you go to that URL, you'll go to that page, you'll see you can download a PDF. It's over 100 tasks that I got off my plate ASAP once I hired Sarah. Sarah actually helped compile the PDF, put it together, and so it was really cool to see how far we've come. She's taken over things like I've mentioned, like Infusionsoft, my email inbox, calendar, WordPress, YouTube, podcasts, billing. It's just absolutely amazing. And that PDF has a great collection of tasks. It's not exhaustive, it's not everything Sarah can do, but it is a good chunk to help inspire you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm incredibly excited to share with you the 5 levels of 80-20 in the next video. See you then.